this computer. Okay. Here we are for another Saturday Night Live. Who's going to do the talking tonight? I ran out of words. I gave you everything I have. I'm done. We just came back from a sauna, a little swim. Cold showers, nice. Very nice. You guys should get your chance to do that. Not on dry fasting. Don't do saunas on dry fasting. I don't recommend them unless you've been used to saunas and dry fasting for a few years. I don't recommend sauna and dry fasting, especially if you're going to go more than 48 hours. It's way too aggressive. I've experimented, and you don't want to be doing that because it'll dry you out very quick if you're cellularly dehydrated, and you can put yourself in a dangerous spot very quickly. It's the same scenario as when us from the cold climates, we go into these tropical islands, and a lot of us get into severe dehydration scenarios because they're not used to that heat, and the body's cellularly dehydrated state, and they go to these places and they start drinking alcohol, and they're sweating more, and bang, they get into the danger zones of dehydration. It happens a lot in these hot tropical islands. Talk to them. I spent 2 months, a little over 2 months, 1 year, and 3 months another year in Venezuela, Margarita Island. My dad, my uncle lives there most of the year. And that's where I was going to retire. But the universe had different plans for me. The country went to hell, and that never happened. So I'm here doing this. But that's a true story. I was all set to retire, spend my time down there. We bought a unit down there. We're going to start doing some stuff down there, and it's a brand new unit. It's still not finished. This was how many years ago now? A good 4 or 5 years ago. And I have a friend down there, and they can't get materials because their dollar is absolutely worthless. Worthless. First time I went down, we were getting like 10, 15 the believers of their money for $1 American dollar. Now it's over 1,000. Just shows you how the inflation just killed their value. That it just shows you how fictitious our whole system is. Paper, it's not worth anything. They can create whatever value they want. They can take away all the value you worked for your whole life. And this is the problem. It's a slavery system, folks. We are in the matrix. Which pill do you want to take? The blue, the red, or the Masterfast pill? We gave you another choice. You know, so there's never a limit of choices. When they give you 2 choices, make your own. Who said you can't make your own choice? Your own choice. This is the slavery mentality where they limit you. There's no limit in the universe. It's abundant, and it's continuously expanding forever to the infinity, infinite one creation. So everything that we've been told is bullcrap, and we need to tap into this infinite knowledge within. As I keep saying, it's not anything outside of us. Everything is within. And the challenge with so many people is they're looking for happiness out, or, you know, or matter stuff, a new car, a new house, vacations. If you can't be happy with absolutely nothing in a little square box, you'll never be happy in the biggest mansion. So what woke me up is my 12-day dry fast. I was totally, completely satisfied. Everything changed from that point. It was a big life-changing shift for me in that experience. So it doesn't matter where I am. You know, I could be going around vacationing, enjoying myself, but I'm enjoying myself helping people. So it doesn't matter. Because when you go to sleep at night, most of us are traveling, and you can do it without sleeping. You can do it with your mind. There's no difference. The illusion is there's a difference between matter state and spirit state. That's what keeps us entrapped and enslaved. And we keep using tools of enslavement. The first one, I believe, is probably food. And the second one is probably money. That's tied man into this matter state. And if you don't think so, stop using money and stop eating. Most of us are not there yet, including myself. I like to eat. We do our darndest to reduce it because this is the key to health. This is the biggest key that we've all been duped big time. That you need this, that, and the other vitamin, supplement, mineral, enzyme, probiotic, herb. It's all bullcrap. We don't need anything. The only issue is we've been in such a sick state for so long, and living so far away from let's say our species specific diet. We'll say that, but we're beyond that, much beyond that. I don't even believe we're fruitarian anymore. That's limiting our consciousness. That's limiting us to a matter state. That's why I was, people bash me. I start talking about vegans. I've been doing vegan longer than most people, and you don't want to be constricting yourself. You want to look at things always beyond the state. If you're looking at this state only, you're going to stay like this. So we want to look beyond the matter state all the time in every aspect to allow us to expand. But I lost my train of thought. Yeah, the food. Well, yeah, the fruitarian, right? If we did have a species-specific diet, man has not been adhered to it for who knows how long. Maybe never. I don't know. How do we find out? Everything we've been taught is bullcrap in history. So, how can we believe anything? We come from cavemen and all this stuff. I don't believe any of this stuff anymore. It's totally ludicrous to me, all these things that we've been indoctrinated. So let's say we were fruitarian by design, and man has not been living this way for probably hundreds or thousands of years at least, let's say. And in the last 100 years, approximately, chemicals started coming out just over 100 years ago. The first ones were in the late 1800s, I believe, the extractive chemistry. As soon as that started happening, things started changing for our environment on Earth and within our body. And this was what plays a role with the outcome of our genetics. So, if we had this natural design of fruitarianism, and we haven't lived by that for, a long time, we naturally would be devolved instead of evolved. Devolved, I guess, because of the foreign substances within the body that body cannot recognize. And it affects the outcome. And this is what we're seeing. This is why we are seeing sickness today worse than it's ever been in our life, at least. Growing up in school, in school, I don't remember anybody having allergies. I don't remember anybody carrying bottled water. Today, everybody, not everybody, but Every second child has allergies of some sort. Everybody's carrying bottled water around, and everybody's sick. Autism is skyrocketing. These things were not of my upbringing. It was a rarity to see these things. And as the years, the decades moved on, it kept getting worse and worse to where we are now. It's crazy what we're seeing with the weaknesses in genetics in people. And today, eating your way to health is not enough. I think most of you, a lot of us, not most, maybe a lot of us in the group have been down the clean eating route, veganism, raw foodist, fruitarianism, a lot of us, and haven't been able to completely balance out all the imbalances, even with eating only fruit and taking herbs. Why is that? You have to ask yourself why. Well, it's not difficult to understand if you look at what I just talked about, that we have not been living in accordance to this natural design we're supposed to have. And we pay the consequences. So there's these foreign substances within our body, chemical structures and so on and so forth that the body cannot recognize. And they get lodged into our body. Just like when we take any pharmaceutical drug, the body can't get rid of that stuff. It just locks it into the tissue very deeply. This is how they suppress symptoms. They lock up the symptom, they pull it within itself into your tissue. And you don't feel the symptom, but it's locked up in there. And then when we go through these detoxes, it gets purged out, and we get all these crazy healing reactions and detox symptoms and so on and so forth. So, you know, eating fruit, you're not gonna get there. Maybe somebody with strong genetics, which is becoming fewer and fewer, can get themselves healed up to a degree by just eating fruit. But over the years, I've seen it's happening less and less and less. You know, people going on these strict raw food diets, fruitarianism mainly and on, and they still can't solve their problems. Can't solve. So if we look in the animal kingdom, animals fast when they're ill or when they're sick. Automatic. Nobody's got to teach them. They just do it. They know. Animals also use herbs. They know which plants they need for whatever time they need it. They use them. And you can check out a lot of these animal documentaries and stuff. I used to watch a lot of them when I was growing up. That was my favorite shows. It wasn't for the rest of my family, but I liked them. So we had to watch Three's Company and whatever else there was there at those days. I don't know. All these shows, but yeah, animals, they use herbs and they use fasting. And the fasting they do is not water fasting, it's dry fasting. They don't go for a drink every to get so many liters of water in them every day. It's ludicrous. They just dry fast. And they either heal or die. But that's the beauty and the cruelty, we want to say. It's not really cruel, that's the design, to keep the strong surviving. That's the way the species can be carried forth. If the weak survived, then we'd have the same thing as we have what we're seeing in the human species. It's getting weaker, weaker, and weaker. And it's happening to the animal kingdom too, because humans have affected their environment everywhere. An environment dictates outcome. So it's getting bad everywhere, even for our poor wild friends. So, you know, I look at things always a little bit differently than other people for some reason. And I don't know if you want to call it thought, but the way I process it, when, I was growing up, I did a lot of things that other people couldn't do, repairing things and building things and so on and so forth. It came easy to me. Just like everybody has their own unique talents and creativity. We're all different. We're all unique, just like there's no two stars alike. So, when I look at what I went through in my life with my health issues, I was very stubborn, and that was a good thing for me. Otherwise, I would have went through the system like everybody else, being butchered. I refused it. I completely outright refused it. I didn't even want to get injections for pain or anything. I just took the pain. And I'm not talking about small amounts of pain. It was bad. It was so bad I would see stars. And this went on for weeks and months. And it wasn't fun, but it was a great, fantastic learning experience. Amazing learning experience. All for a reason. Like I said, the universe had different plans for me. They didn't want me to retire. I think I've shared it before. I had no intention of sharing all the information I've come across publicly. Main issue is people are, in general, cannot take their own responsibility. They always point fingers at others. So, something goes wrong, they're going to point their fingers at somebody else because it's never their fault. Never their fault. And that mentality is going to be one that's not going to get you to health, wellness, and balance and correctness ever. The only way is to take full responsibility for all your decisions every time without fail. Because there's only you that can make that decision. Unless somebody's putting a gun to your head, you're making the choice. You have a mind and free will to do whatever you like. Today on the board, I was really upset. A woman was posting some information about her autistic daughter was throwing up and stuff. And the daughter, she didn't feed her. She just was giving her juice and some herbs. And I don't know, you guys can see the post. The daughter threw up some big, huge chunks of mucus. Excellent. And this woman posts, because we were making some comments, she posts, "You guys are all insane. She's got to bring her to the ER. Somebody should call the child services on her." When I see something like that, somebody putting a threat, that hits home to me, because that's a pure slave mentality. And this is the thing that we need to stay away from, as far away as we can, because we're in this state because of people like that. Total ignorance of how the body heals itself. Trusting the third leading cause of death in North America and probably around the world, if not number one, probably, as one guy put it. And there's a post I also keep putting up about there was a strike in Israel several years ago. You can find the article. And death rates went down dramatically because the strike was for many months. And funeral homes were complaining because they weren't getting any work. So they wanted the doctors to go back to work. This is a true story. You can look it up. And we can look at these and we laugh at them. At the same time, people will turn around, any aches or pain, they're going to still go back to that system and trust the white jackets. Like, how ludicrous can somebody be? It's sad because we've been brought up in this system and there's nothing else for us to turn to most of the time, because a lot of our systems, like in Canada here, it's all paid through your work and they don't support anything else. And that's the only thing. If people are working paycheck to paycheck, they got no money to do anything on their own. So they're going to go to the system. That's the sadness. It's a vicious cycle. They use our money against us. So we're paying for our own demise. That's the system we live in. So yeah, I was upset at that post. I see anybody else threat like that, I'm going to block them off the site. I don't need people like that around. And you know, I've asked for people to share their photograph and a little bit about why they're on the page. We're not pulling teeth here. Yeah, there's some people, certain reasons they don't want to share. That's fine, but they can do it in private. I have a few people that in private. I don't know why people are so afraid to hide. If they're afraid to share, there's something that they're hiding for some reason, and that's an issue. How are you going to heal if you're closing yourself up? You're not going to heal. You need to expand. Fear is going to close you up and kill you. It's going to eat you up. Living in fear. So, you know, the page is getting very busy. I've hit a point where I can't read everything anymore. It's gone beyond that. I don't know where we're at now, 8,200 or whatever. Some reason people are attracted to MasterFast. I guess it must be the results. I guess it must be the results. Or either we're all liars. Everybody's lying about their results. One or the other. It's neither here nor there. Anybody who's done it, we know what it's all about. You don't need to get confirmation from anybody once you've done MasterFast for 30, 40 days. You don't need confirmation. It's self-explanatory. We got some pretty severe cases that, 30, 40 days, even 108 days may not be enough. It's just so sad because of their state. But what else is there, folks? What else is there? The only thing that we're hopefully going to expand on now is getting more into the plasma world, because that's what MasterFast is based on and is why it's so powerful. But we just scratched the surface barely with it. I applied to the Kesh SSI medical teaching, which was only for doctors. And they accepted me, and I went through my first class, was it Wednesday? It's on Wednesdays. And it was very interesting. There's one doctor who's built a few plasma units, and he's been helping a lot of cancer people and even animals shrink tumors. No change in diet, just using plasma technology, field interaction. And he showed one woman with breast cancer. It was a massive tumor on her left breast. And he was putting her through the units and treating her with we use the word process. He was processing her with the GANS materials, the liquid plasmas, and the unit that he's built. It's made out of coils and GANS materials. And he was processing her for about a month, and the thing started getting a bit bigger, and the woman was getting really worried. And then finally, the tumor actually broke open. So she went to the hospital, and the doctors freaked on her, gave her shit, and refused to do anything unless she did chemo. And this woman's freaking out. So they told her, oh, your cancer spread all over. There's nothing we can do. You have to do chemo. That's all they were telling her. So this is what happened, folks. Listen to this. The medical records are online now. So she gives the code on her online medical records to this doctor who's doing the plasma work. He's in South America, Dr. Rodriguez. He goes into her file, reads her blood work. There's no cancer in the blood work. They lied to her. Then they wanted to get a biopsy. Doctor wouldn't do it. Go to second doctor, wouldn't do it. Third doctor wouldn't do it. Fourth doctor finally agreed. He was open-minded. He did a biopsy. Absolutely no trace of cancer. So this is what we're dealing with, folks. You're dealing with the ability for them to earn a larger income. If you can't see that, you're not doing chemo. You're taking thousands of dollars out of their paycheck. This is what we're dealing with. You know, talk to any nurses or anything that's ever worked in this field. When they're giving patients chemo, they're wearing all these hazmat suits and, you know, like space suits to protect themselves, and they're injecting it in people's blood. How ludicrous is that? It's totally ludicrous, but it's being done every day, and they're charging you a fortune for it. So, you know, this is one case. How often does this happen, folks? Every day. They're lying every day. If they're the third leading cause of death, which is by their own medical statistics, it's online, and this was from a few years ago, plus or minus, you know, second or third, first, whatever, they're up there. You know, I think fourth is the drugs they prescribe. And this includes proper procedures, drugs they prescribe, errors, everything's mixed up in there. So they're approximately the third leading cause of death in North America. You know, and it's just insane. I don't know. I just don't understand how diabolic the system is. And people just are not snapping out of it. The information is all out there. Slowly, people are waking up. Slowly, you know, we're waking up to this. But the majority of people are completely blind and oblivious to what we were just talking about. I don't understand. Even though a lot of these people see their family members get destroyed going through the system for cancer treatment or whatever treatment, they still go back to them. Still go back. This is completely oblivious and blind to what's going on. No questions are asked. What's it about now? My dad's passed away over a year now. And the last few years of his life, he had severe heart issues. Two valves weren't sealing properly, and it was affecting the kidneys and all that. He had a heart attack and all this stuff, and going in and out of the hospitals. And then the last couple of years, he finally agreed to start doing some herbs and clean up his diet a bit. More fruit and stuff. But he never really wanted to do the fasting. So I kept him basically alive in a bit of a better lifestyle style with the herbs than before he started doing the herbs, because I got him off a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs. His case was very severe. Things were going well and everything, and then there was a big setback, and I didn't know what was going on. He was complaining about his heart was doing some weird things and everything. This went on for about a week or so, and I'm going, what's going on? You know, like, you know, got him on mostly grapes and herbs and everything, and then one day my mother phones me and says, you got to go get some grapes for your dad. He's not feeling good. So, like, okay, I go to the house. I grab his keys for his car, and I'm taking his car. I open the door of his car. As soon as I open the door, I got a huge blast, a whiff of gasoline fumes. And it almost knocked me over how bad it was. I'm going, what the hell's going on here? So I open all the windows, and you know, the grocery store was across the road, not far. And even with all the windows open, I was going, what's going on? I had my hair head out the door. I go to the grocery store. I came back. So then my mother was outside. I go, what's going on with this car? What's all this gas? She goes, oh my God, I forgot to tell you. I don't want to go in the car no more with that smell. I don't know what he's doing. Talking about my dad. I go, what is he doing? He's driving this car? She goes, yeah, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. I go, no kidding, he's having problems. He's driving this car with these gas fumes. So I go inside the house. I go, what the hell happened to the car? I don't know, I just got this gas. So I went on the highway with the windows open to try and make the smell go away. He was driving that car for about 2 weeks, like that. And it caused his heart to go in a fibrillation. What's it called? Fibrillation. And
irregular heart.
Yeah, and then his kidney started shutting down. So it was that night, I think it was. We ended up going to hospital because he wasn't feeling. He was getting severe kidney pains. Let me just back up a bit. The way the gasoline got in the car, he had put an old chainsaw in the trunk to go cut some trees because he was feeling so good on the fruit and the herbs after years on all those drugs. He was going to go trim some trees, this fruit tree, at the other house where my brother lives. That's why. And when I opened the trunk, the chainsaw was upside down. All the gas spilled in the trunk, and all the fumes built up in the car. So anyway, we ended up going to the hospital. I think it was that night, and I'm explaining this to the doctors. It was not the first time we went, and we went several times to the hospital. So, one of the best hospitals in Toronto, down here, Mount Sinai, and we don't tell the doctors, listen, this is what's happening, blah blah blah. They went in one ear, out the other. They didn't care what happened. They go, well, this is his condition. This is what we do. I go, yeah, but it's because of they don't care what's the cause. They don't know. Anyway, my dad actually he was trying to throw up and everything, and he was feeling horrible. So they got to do the X-rays. I go, we don't need the X-rays. He was holding water and a few other things. And I'm explaining, this is what's happening, similar to last time, but this time it's because of the gasoline fumes. So they didn't want to listen. They had to go do this X-ray. So my sister goes up to do the X-ray with them. I'm waiting in the room in the emergency. I'm on my phone, and I see them wheeling in my dad coming back from the X-rays after, I don't know, half an hour or whatever. And then my dad's trying to throw up on his way back. So they put him in the room and they leave. And it's me and my sister there. I'm on the phone. My dad says a few words, and my sister goes, oh, no. My dad, he just died. His heart just stopped. I get up, nice and calm, and I grab his foot in the heart area and I start massaging it. My sister runs out freaking out. Go call all the doctors and everything. They come in about a couple minutes, and I'm still going. And they're all looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing, right? I wasn't stopped. And they're going nuts, doing whatever, all their stuff. And they go, oh, you got to get out. So they kicked us all out, and they put him, start doing all the CPR and everything. Anyway, he was dead 10 minutes. They brought him back. They brought him back that day. And in critical care or intensive care, which is the worst? Intensive care. He was in intensive care. I don't remember how long, but when we were in there, we went in the next morning because he was out that whole night. So we went home and come in the next morning. He was awake. He was awake. And I go, how was the trip? He goes, you know? I go, yeah, we were there. So anyway, I started bringing some herbs in the hospital, right? Giving him herbs. Anyway, he was out of the intensive care very, very quick. Very quick. And, talking to the nurses and stuff, and they're going, wow, he's the best patient here, man. He's in and out. So I didn't tell doctors anything what I was doing, but I asked a lot of questions, and they couldn't answer most of my questions. Actually, one of the pharmacists, she was cool. She was Chinese. She was one of the head pharmacists of the hospital. And I'm going, no, we don't need all these drugs. She goes, you sound like my mother. My mother's into herbs. I go, excellent. And she keeps telling me that I shouldn't be working in this field. I go, she's right. And I kept on asking questions, and she goes, you know what? I wish people were all like you asking these questions. I go, why? There's no people ask questions? She goes, absolutely not. I go, nobody asks questions? She goes, no. Really? She goes, I go, it's amazing. I go, nobody asks any questions. So, the doctors, every time they see me, they started cringing because of all the questions I would ask them. And they couldn't answer any of my questions. But it was my dad's choice. So, we all have free will. We can't force people to do things. But in the last couple of years, my dad on herbs and stuff, I learned a lot. Went in and out of the hospitals, I don't know how many times, probably 6, 7 times. That was the one time he died 10 minutes. And then another trip after that, it was 6, 7 months before he died. We went to another hospital because my mother said, let's go to the closer one. So we go to this closer hospital. He was having another issue and with water and stuff in his kidneys. And I go there, give them all the reports. I go, this is what happened. It's the same as last time. This happened a few times. They didn't want it. They didn't listen to me. Anyway, my dad was in agony, pain, screaming. So they finally injected him, put him out. That was the best they can do. And then we were going to go home to sleep because we were up, and my brother was in the state. Anyway, they went in the next day. He had flatlined again because they didn't listen to me. And they brought him back again, going through all the intensive care scenario all over again. And when he comes out of it, he's puking out all this mucus. And I'm going, did you guys feed him when he was with the tube? And, yeah, we feed him through the stomach. What did you guys feed him? And my dad wasn't eating dairy for many years, and it's all dairy-based crap, and he was just puking up all mucus. And I had it out with the head guy up there in the hospital going, what are you guys doing? This guy's vegan. It's right on his chart. You guys are giving him non-vegan. Oh, we don't have non-vegan stuff that for feeding through the stomach. Like, what do you mean? So you're force-feeding stuff against vegans' belief systems? Anyway, this is what you're dealing with when you go in their building. It's a bunch of bull crap. So, like I said, I made, 5, 6 trips. 2 trips were in Venezuela, Margarita Island. And both years. The first year we went, the second year. Don't know nobody. Barely know the language. Few words. And you're going into hospitals there. What an experience. What an experience. I don't know how we got through it those 2 times. It was unreal. It was surreal. Whole different experience than over here. Hospitals, completely different. Completely different. But they were good people that were working there, and it was an interesting experience. But I learned a lot. Doctors don't have a clue what's going on. It's all experiment, everything they do. Every single one of us, if you want to talk about chemistry, has a different chemistry. There's no 2 exact chemistries alike in the human bodies. None. When they're introducing their chemistry into a body, it's an experiment. They don't know what's going to happen. That's why you have all different reactions from different people. So anytime you take a pharmaceutical drug, there's a risk. And that's why the deaths are so high. Doctors, they're the leading cause of death, including the drugs that they prescribe. Herbs. How many people die taking herbs? How often do you hear it? It's almost next to nil, unless they're doing poison toxic herbs, which they don't have an understanding. But you don't hear that much. I don't think you hear any vitamins, minerals. Even though they're not great, there are other isolates. You still don't hear much from that. But pharmaceuticals, they're very dangerous. Very dangerous. Tylenol is the #1 reason for liver transplants. People popping Tylenol for pain. So we have all these things that we have available, choices. And you have to ask yourself, especially if you've been through the system a couple times, 1, 2 times, and then you go back. Does that person really want to be healed? Because when you're looking at illness, it's, I keep saying, emotion is the seed of all disease. Everything starts in emotion. Everything starts with emotion. And a lot of people that are ill, subconsciously, they want to be ill. It brings attention to them. To us, we've all been there. To some degree, there's something that's missing in their life, and the illness seems to satisfy that special emotional spot. So we need to make a lot of changes if we want to get healthy, if we want to have a healthy lifestyle. That's why I like to tell people, teach them that if you want to get healthy, change everything in your life from A to Z. Change what time you go to sleep, change what time you wake up, change what time, change your direction of your bed, clean up your house, change what time you eat, change everything. Change what time you go to the bathroom, change what time you have fun. Change everything. You don't want to be in the same routine as you were when you were sick, because there's memory. So you can clean all yourself up, do all these things for 1 or 2 years. You go back to the same routine as when you were sick, I can almost guarantee you 99% you'll go back to your sickness. And it won't be long. 6 months you'll be back. Isn't that incredible? Now let's turn that around. Going back to a time when you were healthy and go back to those routines. You see where I'm going? So let's change everything. #1, to bring our awareness in a different pattern and our focus. And that's why we need to write things down. It's not rocket science, folks. The power of the pen really works. Whether you believe it or not, fake it till you make it. I never believed it either. But things I wrote down 10, 15 years ago came to be almost exactly. And it blows your mind. It blows your mind. Just write things down. Write your goals. Be clear. It may surprise you one day. It may not be this year, next year, the year after, 5 years from now. You look back and holy mac. But you know what's happening now is I see things moving faster and faster and faster in time. Everything's happening quicker. We're healing quicker. We're doing everything quicker. You know, I say 7 to 9 years because what I'm trying to show people is that if you're committed for 7 to 9 years, you're doing this for your life. So if you last that long, believe me, you're going to be a lot healthier before that time comes. But yeah, if you got your ups and downs on your way up. And this is beauty. You know, if everything was smooth sailing for all of us, life would be boring. So, you know, make these changes and focus on your health. Write your goals down. Be clear. We have a lot of miracles happening. A lot of miracles. Read between the lines. A lot of miracles are on the page. In this past, about almost a year and a half now we started. Is it? I don't even remember what month. September. Yeah, okay, a year and a quarter. So I've read 95 to 99% of everything that went through that page. A lot of reading and a lot of beautiful stories. That's what keeps me going, folks, is the people's results. And we've come to have a fantastic support system. Without that, I would have stopped a long time ago. The results and the support system keeps it going, keeps me going. It's a beautiful thing. So, you know, we need to get out of that state that of using the pharmaceutical disease names, you know, like cancer and diabetes and heart disease and restless leg syndrome and whatever else they got. They own all those names, I keep saying, and we don't want to use those names because then the names own you. We really need to disassociate ourselves from everything in their terms. Their language is like English in our countries. If you're in a different country, different language, but it's like legalese in English. It looks like English, sounds like English, written like English, but has nothing to do with English. It's its own language, and you need a lawyer to interpret it. That's the words they use because that's the way it is. It's not an English language, folks. It's legalese. And medical is the same thing. They have their own language. When they're talking, doctors, you can't understand what they're talking about unless you've been around medical language before. It's a different language. It's called the luciferic intellect to put themselves in a fictitious higher state in their mind, that they're above us, to make themselves feel they're superior. And in doing that, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Always, always. The luciferic intellect. It's how we've all been indoctrinated and brainwashed, the whole system. That is taking away our creativity, our way to use our minds. If you talk to the average person on the street, they're not thinking. They're just repeating what they've heard on the television, on the radio, from a co-worker, whatever. They're like parrots, robots, computer, garbage in, garbage out. There's no thought process. And that's why I'm happier being on my computer 16, 18 hours a day, helping people make changes in their life instead of being out there to do what? I don't have any interest. I'm happy being in my 3-4 square foot office. I don't need to be out there. Yeah, once in a while I'll go out there, but I don't need to be. I'm happy helping people. So we need to remember how to think. It's not difficult. When you ask the proper intelligent questions, the answers will appear. It's really that easy. It's all in the questions. If you learn how to ask the proper question, you're going to find the answers much easier. And that's what we're trying to teach. I love when people ask questions. It keeps me going, it keeps me sharper. But they need to be intelligent questions. I'm answering the question like, what is Master Fast? Why don't you drink water? It's all written down for people to read. I've talked about them so many times as well. Yeah, there's a lot of newbies, but we got to do our own homework. I did it all on my own. You guys are so lucky. You got a support system. You have no idea. No idea. A few of you might have being sick all alone and nobody to reach out to because you've the whole family and friends that cannot see eye to eye with what you're doing and so on and so forth. But now we have the internet and we have a support system. Virtual or not, there's no difference. There's no difference. We are all having our fields interact now. It doesn't matter where you are on the planet. You can be across the table or here. We're going to have the same interaction. It's beautiful. We can see each other on the screen here. But, folks, it's all an illusion, the matter state. And once we realize that, you can do anything. So, let's learn to ask the proper questions because this is key. This is such an important, crucial part in gaining an understanding for yourself. I don't have all the answers, and you don't have to listen to anything I tell you. But if I can just teach people to ask the proper questions so they can find their own answer, I've done my homework. That's all I'm looking for. You know, the Master Fast system is sound. It's sound, and that's why you see the growth. You know, we can't all be liars. The results coming in faster and faster and faster. Yeah, we have some serious cases. We have some very serious cases. And we have people going through very severe healing reactions. And in their mind, it's few of them, you know, went to ERs because they couldn't understand, they couldn't handle it. And that's okay. That's okay. I knew they were going to come through it. I knew, because if you're on the system and you're doing, well, as we suggest, 99% you'll make it through. There'll be a few of us that won't make it. It's okay. We can't save everybody, and not everybody wants to be saved. Not just as I was speaking before, some people want to remain sick, subconsciously deep within their emotion. They're happy with that state. So, you know, people are dying all the time. Eating, sleeping, walking across the street, jumping off buildings, bridges, swimming, hiking. Death is inevitable. It's just a transition. We don't die. The soul's spirit lives on. We all probably have a little bit of fear of what's there, but I've found that the more I fast, the less fear there is. The more toxic I was eating, the more fear I had in my body. When I was growing up, I was scared of the dark. I was shitless of dark. And my parents and uncles, and they used to make fun of me, make it even worse. And I couldn't understand. You know, I was even scared of heights, walking across bridges. I wouldn't even want. I was scared of walking bridges. It was weird. And you know, clean up the diet and everything. It made a big shift. And I'm going to give you this little experience I had when I was in Italy. I did that 12 days there. It was an amazing experience, a dry fast. And it was earlier, I did it in, I think, February. Went into March, I believe. I did 42 days of the Master Fast. I started with a 12-day dry fast. I started with, 1 day of the juice, then I did 12-day dry. And then in the 42 days, I had 26 days were dry. Amazing. I felt I was flying. I almost was walking on water. But I was swimming in it, but it was amazing. The cold sea in the winter. It was a beautiful experience. So things changed. I was supposed to be in Italy for 3 years, but my dad passed 6 months after I left. I didn't tell you finish the story of my dad. 6 months after I left. And I changed plans to come back. I only stayed there 8 months. And before I came back, my children's grandmother is in Italy. And I went to stay with her for the last month. And their grandfather also passed shortly after my dad. So I didn't even get to see him. I was going to go and see him on Christmas, and he ended up passing. They killed him too in the hospital. So I went to stay with her, and this was about a month after I broke that fast, a bit more than a month. And in my ex-mother-in-law, she's one of that you got to eat. They have fruit trees all over their garden, their yard, lots of fruit trees. I don't know how many, 40, 50 fruit trees, all different fruits, everything. Not everything's in season then, but they have lemons all year round. Oh, the lemons are amazing. But I went there and I was thinking in my head, you know what? Her husband just passed and everything. I don't want to be putting too much resistance or anything, you know. I'm gonna indulge a bit and see what happens. So, you know, I indulged a bit of stuff here and there, and I even tasted some rabbit one night. And some dairy stuff. Dairy is the most damaging very quickly. Doing my yoga and everything, and right away, I was doing my 2 days a week dry fast, and right away with the introducing some of those things, we feel it right away. And even with the 2-day dry fast, the body's going, wow, man, unbelievable. And by the last week, I'm going, I can't wait to get out of here. But why I brought this story up is they have this huge house, and I'm walking up the stairs, in pitch black there in the middle of it's in the mountain. Going up the stairs, and I had this eerie, creepy feeling that I have not felt in a long time. This is after eating the animal product. I'm going, what's going on? Like, kind of a fear, eerie, weep, walking upstairs in the dark. And I haven't felt that in years. And then I'm going, holy mac. It's the food. It's the food. Right away, I did a 2-day dry fast. It went away. So make the choices. Make the choices. It's all up to us of what we want to do. Anybody else have anything to say? I've blabbered enough.
I wanted to say something.
Go ahead.
Hi, fellas.
Hello, how is everybody?
Great, you?
Good. Hold on a second. What I wanted to say was that I was thinking about the food, like you're saying it's the food, and I was thinking of a scripture I learned out of the Bible one time, and it was when Jesus was fasting in the desert for 40 days, and Satan offered him the bread. I don't know if you remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like us going back to eating after fasting. It's like I'm offering you this beautiful bread. You bow down to me and you become enslaved, like exactly the topic of what you were saying today. And I thought of this earlier in the week, and I was saying, if I go on the call, I'm going to say this because it was so apropos, really turned out to be totally apropos for what you were saying today. But I noticed, because I shared with you before that I went to Foodland for a while after my 108 days, and it was, I couldn't go back anymore. Even just regular vegan eating, like grains and regular vegan eating, I couldn't. I was miserable in my spirit, and I just I'm in the middle of I don't know if I'm going to do a 2 or 3 day diet. I might do a 3-day dry and then break. But I just feel so much more amazing and so much more appreciative this time, and learned so much. And
Anyway.
so I may do actually a session with Dana for the breath. So because I think that will be really good to. I catch myself breathing out of my mouth gets dry sometimes because I think I catch myself breathing out of my mouth instead of through my nose like I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, shallow breathing when you're dry fasting. Talk as least as you can, and some deep breaths through the nose, but slow breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great that you mentioned that, because Master Fast, when somebody's gone through it, at least 30, 40 days at least, it's almost impossible. They won't change. It's almost impossible. It takes the blinders off.
Especially if you go further.
Yeah.
If you go further, you will feel it more.
Yeah. When the people that go the distance, 90, 108 days, you're changed for life.
Yeah, you can't go back. It's just not the same. I mean, especially all the frickin' worms and shit I came out. I mean, I wish I could go 60 days again, 70 days again, but I'm already like, getting this thing I had toward the end of my master fast with my ear on this side. It's almost like something's draining on this side, and as soon as you start eating, it goes away. Or even when you start drinking the juice, when you're doing the dry fast, it's almost like that feeling you get when you're on a mountain and your ear pops, and it won't pop, but something's going on in there, some kind of draining or healing, and my head keeps draining. And when I first started dry fasting, my mouth was so dry. Oh my God. It's so much better now than it used to be, but it was bad in the beginning.
Yeah, well, we're dehydrated. That's the issue. And as you keep practicing, you won't have these issues as bad. They get better and better and better over time.
I know. Well, like I said, I'm glad I kept moving, because you were saying on these calls, keep moving. And I do feel better through the dry fast and everything else. And it's really made a big difference. And this time I kept the muscle mass.
Good.
I mean, I lost some weight, but
Some people, Phyllis, I just want to mention, Phyllis went really thin, very thin, very, very thin, right, Phyllis?
yes.
And
Concentration camp thin.
yeah, concentration camp. So, some of us have to go that route, and it's not an issue if your mind understands.
But it was I didn't feel like it was, and I was going to complete it. But afterwards, I was desperate to gain the weight back. And I think that's why I turned to Foodland, because
It's because of the pressure of your family and friends.
Exactly. But I was having a hard time believing what you were saying, that I would just eat one meal a day and gain it back. But now, after doing the second master fast again, and I haven't lost that much weight, but I'm only 30 days in anyways. But that's why I want to do the breath thing with Dana, because she says that it'll help me not to lose weight. And then I would go longer. If I didn't have to. I just know I can't go that low again. I don't think I would need to, but some of the weight I gained back was shit weight from what I was eating.
Yeah. How much weight did you lose in the first 30 days the first time?
I don't know. I didn't keep track.
Yeah.
It was just, it was so many days. I was already only 100 and some pounds when I started.
Yeah.
I don't even know exactly how much I weighed when I started anyways, but.
Phyllis did 108 days, guys. Last year, 108 days.
I mean, I can go in front of the mirror and show you how I look right now. Sit in my house though. But I haven't healed that part of myself yet, but that's why I want to keep going on Master Fast, I still got to heal that part.
Yeah,
Still to that shit. But I think as I keep moving shit out of my colon, that shit's gonna just go too. And what I've been doing for Master Fast Love is, am I taking too much time or anything, or is this okay?
No, go ahead. I can't do all the talking. People want to hear.
The part of me that was really sad on my long emotional Master Fast was that I've loved cooking, and part of my belief system was that type of food would heal us. And then when I came across Dr. Morse and then expanded to you from that, it was sad, because and I was good at it. I was good at cooking. That's why I came up with the broth, because I love it's alchemy, and I just am very good at it. And so I think we need to reach the lost in a way that they can relate to, that will be batting our eyelashes at them. And the way that I've been doing that, because they're going to be eating the shit anyways, is I've been making these muffins that are a healthy version of what they're already eating. And so then I can tell them, oh, I just use blended coconut meat for the fat. Yes, I know there's karma, whatever. But we got to reach the lost somehow, and they're going to be open if I'm in their world in a way to lure them. Just like they're being lured by somebody else, I can be luring them for good. If I'm not going to eat it, this stuff I've been making, I didn't even taste it, and I'm on fire.
I don't know if you guys have been reading a lot of people's posts that have had to cook for their families doing the Master Fast. Their families commented that they cook much better when they're not eating. If you understand what's happening, you're tuning into a different energy, and you don't need to taste the food. You don't need to taste the food to make it better. You're tapping into the energy of the food, and you can still cook. You don't need to eat it. You can do the broth. You can have the broth. Much better to drink the broth. Just take the energy of the food instead of taking the fiber part. The vegetables, they're obstructing. They're obstructing. That's why we do herbal teas. We're using the energy of the herb. We're not using the actual herbs themselves.
Anyways, I was also going to say, maybe for some people who don't understand about how you're saying to use the kidney tea as a base, what I do is cook the broth, strain the broth, and instead of using water to make the kidney tea, you just use the broth, and it's
sure you can do that.
So,
yeah, of course. It's some people need to do the broth, it helps the emotion, settle emotion. But if you do too much of it, it's gonna take away from the fast if you do too much.
Oh, I only do my 1 cup of tea, and that's the base I use to boil the tea, and that's all I use. 2 cups of it a day, and that's it.
Yeah. We want to less is more. There's people doing the kidney tea and the broth. It's too much. It's too much.
That's why I'm explaining that you said, that's why I'm saying this is the way you do it, and then that's what you have as your kidney tea.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it too.
Yeah.
But you can also just brew it off.
I knew it would be too much liquid if I didn't do it that way, and so I started thinking, how could I do it? And then I came up with that, and it was perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We got so many tools to use. It's one of the easiest fasts I've ever done compared to all the different ones I've tried. Mm-hmm. By far, we got things to settle everything. This works great. We got our pudding, which is my dessert.
I've been meaning to say too, it's really nice if you put it in a beautiful, I saw this thing at the 99-cent store, this $2 beautiful glass goblet. And I always put it in that to make myself feel like I'm doing something special, because then when I see what that helps me get out, it's like I should be putting it in a beautiful goblet, because look at what it's doing for me. And it's like a treat. It's pudding. It's a texture. It's just a way that I just elevate it in my mind to be something special. Because it really is helping us. It's assisting us with all the charcoal and the clay and the...
Oh, you better believe it. It's needed. With all the toxins we have in our body, you need to be doing the psyllium pudding. We call it plasma pudding now. I got take it on your name. Mm-hmm. Plasma pudding. We need that. It's an essential part of Master Fast, because the fast is what loosens up and all the toxic foreign matter in the body and needs to be pulled out of the system. So because I was speaking earlier of all this foreign substance that the body can't recognize, it becomes too much of a burden. And that's how I burnt out my kidneys in my first 40-day Concord grape juice fast. Because that's all I did. I did it as a juice fast. And we know a little bit more now. So we use all these tools, all these aids. We use the herbs to keep all the glands and organ doors open so they don't fry our organs and glands, especially the kidneys. They have a hard time in these fasts. And we use the plasma pudding to help massage the whole GI tract and pull and absorb physically and plasmatically with the field interaction of the clay, of the activated charcoal. So they're integral parts of the system, and they're there for a reason. And we keep hearing the same bull crap about, oh, it's all psyllium coming out. This is how ignorant people are. Yeah, what goes in's got to come out. But number one, what's inside that when it comes out? Go get it analyzed. You'd be surprised. And does it smell like roses? Because if it doesn't, it ain't psyllium pudding. And it's ridiculous what people say. I didn't do any psyllium pudding in my fast, and I got black plaque coming out 3-4 feet long, back then in 1990. Everybody has it. Nobody wants to believe they had it. They believe they're cleaner than all of us, but everybody has it. And the other thing that helps pull is also parasites and so on and so forth. They get trapped into it as it's going through. It's pulling physically with the clay and the psyllium and the field interaction from the charcoal. It's doing all that work going through this GI system. And we need that because our GI tract is filthy. I can't remember what the surface area of the whole GI tract is, like a tennis court or something. It's massive. So just think about all that surface area that needs to be cleaned. We need something, we need help in today's man. Fruit ain't gonna do it, guys. We have many
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I heard Phyllis mention something about breathing as a way to keep weight on.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say more about that?
Me or Phyllis?
Both.
It's Anna that was really talking about it, and she's the one who had said that she experienced that herself. I guess she's been a yoga instructor, and it's a specific type of breath work that she does that I'm going to get help with from her.
I have a video. I show a few different techniques. You have to understand, we're getting most of our energy from nitrogen in the air. It's almost 80% nitrogen in the air. Oxygen's not what it is. 70-something percent. Less than 20% is oxygen, and then a few other gases. We don't take in oxygen through our lungs into the bloodstream. It's a myth. It doesn't work that way. Nitrogen is the key. It's in a plasmatic state, and that's the food for man and all the rest of the species on this planet. All the plants, animals, everything. That's the main food supply. It's not in a matter state. It's in a plasmatic state. So we're already doing it when we're not eating, and we're not eating most of the day. We're only having whatever meals a day. So we're already doing it. And if you noticed, most people do when they eat, their energy goes down, not up. If the answer is not in your face right there, I can't explain to you. So how does food give you energy? It's ingrained in us that it does. It's not true. But we are subconsciously programmed to believe it does. And that has to change for us to let go of that belief system. I'm not there yet, but I eat way less than I've ever eaten in my life. 9 days a month, like clockwork, at least I don't eat nor drink every month. And when the season changes, it's longer, right? So, yeah, the breath work. The one you do, always a good practice would be to if you're gonna have your 2 meals a day or 3 meals a day, sit down at the same time to do your breath work. Those are your meals. And
Nice.
you sit down and you focus all your intent and emotion as it's your meal. So what do? There's many types of breath in yoga. They got the one that you alternate your nostrils. You take in your left nostril, you hold, you close, and you open the other one, then you let it out.
That's the one I'm most familiar with.
And then you suck it in again,
Yeah.
the same side, and you alternate. Use these two fingers. On the other video, I used the wrong finger, and people criticized me. So it's these two.
Mm.
So that's one technique, and you do a nice slow inhale. Let's say a count of 4 to 6. Hold for 4 to 6. Exhale for 4 to 6. So you do that, and then you do the other side, and you do that. 9 is always a magical number. That's one technique. The other one I like to do when I'm doing yoga and stuff is there was, I can't remember her name. She used to teach this. There was a DVD set she used to sell. Greer or something, I think her name was. I don't remember. But this one works really well when you're doing exercise. So let's see here. So if you're doing any exercise, it works really well. Like I said, I use this for yoga a lot. So you take your as much air in as you can as possible. So let it all in. And once you have it all in, you're going to let the air out as fast as you can and bend over and suck in your stomach to let all the air out. So you got it all in. And then all the air is out.
You inhaling by mouth or nose?
Whatever, as much
Doesn't matter.
nose, mouth, whatever you can get more in. But if you see, I created a vacuum. Once I let it go, I get like a little suction happen if you do it right. And when you're holding it in, I'll be doing my poses. And in my pose, you hold it as long as you can without no air in your body. And then you let go and you take in the air while you're still in the pose. So I'll do it again. And when you let it in, I can hold longer, but when you let it in, you get like a little vacuum happening. This breath here really helped me on my long dry fast. And it boosts your energy. That's another one. And then you have the Iceman technique, which he shows. This is for doing anything extreme, like jumping in cold water or a very extreme climbing a mountain in shorts like he does or whatever. Any crazy things you want to do. I don't think I'd want to be doing this regularly. It's for fight or flights at times. You want to be using this. It's okay. You want to practice occasionally so you understand it. But he does 30 rounds of the breath, I think 3 times. So you just... same thing, except this is going to be a circular breath where you take in as much as you can, and then you don't let it out, but you just relax. You take it all in, and you relax. You keep doing it as a circular. And you do 30. And then at the end of the last breath, when you relax, meaning all the air's out pretty much, you hold your breath. The first time you should be able to do about a couple minutes. I reached over 3 minutes, and I wasn't even practicing a lot. So this is how it goes. And relax. 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 And this is how I went swimming in the cold sea. 30. And the last one, you relax, and you hold, and you time yourself. And then you do 30, and then you do it again. And each time you should be able to hold your breath longer. And if you practice, you probably get to 3, 4, 5 minutes. So that's another one for flight or fight times, which is really, really good and powerful. It's amazing. I was able to stay in the cold sea for 15, 20 minutes easily, very easily.
Wow.
And it was cold. There's other people on sunny days jumping in and out, and they're going to me, "What are you doing? Get out! Leave me alone." But it was amazing, invigorating. So those are a few, and there's other techniques you can learn online. Learn them all, use them all. Breath work is key. You're not going to be doing any dry fasting without breath work. There's going to be days where you're going to wake up and it's going to feel like it's hard to breathe, and you're going to have to force yourself. And you're going to have to move to get that lymph moving, to get the energy flowing. Because if the lymph doesn't move, you have no energy. That's why we know the lymph is the energy system, it's not the blood system. The blood is the sewer system. Opposite of what we've been taught. Common sense to me. So move and breath work, especially on dry fast. But you should be doing this all the time. And there's what's that one that that guy, the shallow breathing type one? What's his name?
Leonard Orr?
Sorry?
Leonard?
Leonard. I don't know. He was a doctor, a Russian doctor or something, or he taught this type of breath work for asthmatic people and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I don't remember the name. I posted it a few times, but I don't remember the guy's name now. It's a shallow type breathing, and what they found is that anybody sick, they're breathing fast. So you turn it around, you slow it right down, and by slowing down, not deep breaths, very shallow, slow breaths, you slow down the heart rate, and you bring up your CO2 in the blood, which raises the oxygen within the brain. Opposite of what we've been told. Opposite of what we've been told. So these are all different techniques of breath work that you can find and use, and I'm sure there's many, many, many others. Different techniques of yoga, Kriya Yoga, and so on and so forth. The breath is powerful. Once you master the breath, you don't need it no more. That's when we can move into the light, transparent, and not have to breathe anymore. So that's where, if you want to focus on that, you can take it to that realm. The breath is only for the physicality, and it ties us to this state. But I've been doing a lot of shallow, and it's pretty interesting what happens after you practice it for a while. Today in martial arts, we were doing some pretty vigorous things, and everybody was out of breath except me. And I don't do a lot of cardio work. I do hardly any. I just do my yoga, which is only about a 45 minute an hour. But the breath work is key in allowing the functions of the body to work properly and keep your balance. So if you practice these over the months and years, you'll see changes, all positive changes in how you feel. I always highly recommend we practice the breath work. Like I said, if you do it when you're doing your fasts, you're on a massive fast or whatever, dry fast, practice it at the times that you would regularly be eating. We don't advocate eating more than twice a day when you're eating. That's too much. We should honestly try and focus on one meal. I'm still at the 2 meal a day. It's too much. I did 1 meal a day years ago for a while, quite a while, and it's the best way to do it. I got to get back to that one day, focusing on trying to get back to 1 meal. You're going to feel much better once you get used to it. The key issue is keeping yourself busy and not thinking about food. When you're living,
I have a question about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why even 1 meal?
You can do 1 meal every 2 days.
Why eat altogether?
If you can get to that state, like I said, if you can convert all the energy you need through the plasmatic nitrogen, you don't need to eat. There's people living that are not eating and drinking on this planet.
Are you ready to give up food?
I'm working on it, but I'm curious, since you're not getting the energy from food, you just said that earlier.
We're not there. Our belief system's not there. And most of us will probably never get there in this lifetime. It doesn't matter. But we can do it part-time, and we can extend the part-time more and more, as I've been doing over the years. The more years go by, the less I eat. So that's the key. Some people will be able to snap into breatharianism, you want to call it breatharianism, and some people take many years. It doesn't matter if that's what you want to be. Not everybody's going to be a breatharian. It doesn't matter. But like I said, part-time.
What does eating give to you?
I explained this before. The only reason we eat is to settle our emotion.
Ah, yeah.
There's no other reason.
The reason we're addicted to cooked food is because it settles our emotions even more than raw food, I think.
Yeah, especially if you've been brought up with cooked food. Anything you've been brought up with, the foods that your mother cooked, or
Yeah.
your father, whatever, those are the most addictive.
Yeah.
Emotionally.
Yeah.
And when you smell those,
Yeah. Yeah.
so whatever food it is, no matter how bad or how good, those are the ones that are more addictive, the cooked ones. So,
But you will reach a level where everybody will be eating around you and you're amazing at some point. When you're very satisfied, you will not care what anybody else eats. The smell, in fact, it becomes, it starts bothering me, the smell, if it's very heavy, you know?
Wow.
yeah, I went through a long time without eating cooked food, and it was great. It was great. So we got to go back to that. When you're eating, we eat cooked. When you're cleaning, we use cooked. I mean raw. When we're eating, we eat raw. Sorry. And when we're cleaning, we're using all cooked products. Complete opposite of what we've been taught to clean house. So, it's fine using like I mentioned, the teas and the broths and using it that way. If you want to still indulge in the flavors of the cooking without eating the fibers, you'll be much better off. They're too obstructive. The cooked vegetables, even everything else is way more. Like if you start getting into cooked nuts and seeds, and then you get into the dairies and the other animal product meats and stuff, it's very, very obstructive, and that's the problem with these foods. But the issue is why they're so addictive is because they're in a higher plasmatic state. Everybody says they're all dead and everything. It's not true. It's not true. You can't kill energy. We open up the structure when we cook, and that's why it's so addictive and so satisfying emotionally. Because that's the reason we need to eat, is emotion. Until we can solve and settle the emotion without food, we're going to need to eat. And
So are there any techniques you have found to settle emotions?
breathing is going to help you, and moving, keeping busy. And when you're doing these cleanses, all the unbalanced and unsettled emotions in your life will come up to the surface. We've had people telling us their story of when they were little girls and boys, of things coming up that they've locked up inside them and they've released during the fast. So this is the beauty of doing these long fasts. What is the emotional seed of your disease? Because that's all it is. It's a seed that's been planted from who knows when, and it's grown to manifest into what it is today in whatever name you want to give it, which is cause unbalance. So we need to find out and have it come to the surface so we can embrace it and let it go. We're also working with GANS materials. The zinc oxide is very powerful for the emotion of man, and CO2 as well, but zinc is more directed to the emotion. I highly recommend everybody play with these materials. Once they're in your home, things are going to change. It's beautiful working with these materials. They have a higher order because we're putting them back to where they came from. They're in a semi-matter state. They're plasmatic matter, just like as our whole body. Our whole body is the same. And that's why when we go to sleep, we can leave our body and travel. We're not in a full matter state. We're semi. The only thing that we all have challenges with is our programming. That's all it is. I haven't, most of us all have that problem. Or, we wouldn't be here. So let's work toward bringing balance as best we can. The fruits are, even if we have the best quality fruits, they, for some reason, do not settle the emotion as well as the cooked food for some reason. I think part of the reason may be that number one, they're not grown to ripeness, and they're not local and in season. And if you understand that environment dictates outcome, there's reasons why fruits grow in different climates and so on and so forth. And I mentioned this before. The date is one of the fruits. It grows in the desert. You know, it's cactus pears. The date, you know, people say all kinds of things about it. I say it's one of the most hydrating foods. Why would the creator put it in the desert? Did he make a mistake? I don't think so. I don't think so. For that environment, not for this environment. If you're living there, you need to be eating the food that grows there. And the date is an amazing. I remember watching a program of some Arabic guys going in the desert with their camels, and all they brought a few dates in their pocket. So, understand environment dictates outcome. If we are all living in all different climates, we have food imported. Toronto here, we have everything, but it's all imported. We do the best we can. We do the best we can, and we limit our intake, because the more we eat, the more we bring obstructions and everything else that comes along with them. And we get sick by eating. We can't create balance by eating more or eating different things. It's an illusion. You can eat all the fruit you want. You're only going to go so far. There's lots of us who've been down that road. Eating fruit, eating herbs for years, spending thousands of dollars. I've been there, done that. You're only going to get so far. You're going to plateau. You're going to have few people that may be able, like I mentioned before, with strong genetics, be able to get some healing happening. Most of us in this environment today, on this planet, ain't going to happen. You got to fast. You got to fast. It's part of our being. When we're sick, when we got heavy colds and something, we're not hungry. We don't want to eat. We just eat out of habit of feed. We don't want to eat because you're not supposed to eat. The body's saying, I don't want food. Leave me alone. Let me do my work. Let me heal. Because it's already built in. We make it challenging and complicated that we have to take something. Dry fast. Best. Doing absolute nothing. Just breathing.
What's the second reason the food doesn't settle your emotion?
Second reason?
Yeah, so the first reason doesn't.
Those were the two. It's not grown until ripeness and the environment. And the other, there's another reason that most people don't consider. Who grew the fruit? How was it grown? The intent and emotion of the grower. The intent and emotion of how it was packed, how it was shipped, the store. Everybody who's touched it has influence and outcome of what you put in your mouth. That's the third one. And it's a biggie. Energetically. So get your GANS materials, wash everything GANS, brings everything back to balance. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
Hey, Gino, I got a question. On the GANS video you made, I think it was zinc oxide, when you showed how to make it, you said use a welding rod if you wanted to that takes off welds. Is that right? You have to have one.
It's a carbon rod they use on arc welders to remove welds. It's carbon.
Okay. So you can't just go into a welding shop and say, I want a welding rod. You have to ask them for like a carbon rod or what?
I think it's called a carbon rod. Just say, I need a carbon rod that's used for removing welds. It's pure carbon. And it may be coated with copper.
All right.
There's another way of doing it. It's a little more work through getting a copper plate or a whole bunch of copper wire and nano coating it through the process of nano coating. You can do it that way instead of using the carbon rod. The carbon rod is much easier form. The carbon and the zinc makes CO2 and zinc oxide. It makes those both. If you use two zinc plates and you nano coat one of the zinc plates, you'll get more of a zinc oxide. So there's many, many Ganses you can do. It's infinite. This is infinite. You can make a Gans for all the different elements, for all the different combination of elements, for all different foods. You can make Gans from anything, anything. Crystals, I've seen somebody was posting the other day, they were making with all different crystals. You can make Gans with anything, anything. And we're just bringing them to a higher order so we can use the energy that we've opened up through that structure of process. So it's pretty magical when you get into these things. You know, there's lots going on in the plasma world. We're going to see lots happen in the next couple of years if we're all still around in the plasma world.
I got one more question. When I was at the store the other day getting some lemons, I finally found some key limes, but I believe you said don't use key limes if they're green.
Limes are yellow when they're ripe.
Yeah, so the only ones I found that I could find were green, and they're really, really small. So don't use them. Just use a lemon.
If they got some yellow, when I get limes, I'll only buy them when I start seeing yellow on them. And sometimes we get some of them that they're pretty yellow. They pick them. I don't know why they pick them green, because maybe they want to see it's shown different than a lemon. I don't know why. But no such thing as a ripe lime that's green. They go yellow, just like a lemon. You know, it's like a green banana. You know, you got to wait till it's yellow. Same thing. The only problem is banana will ripen off the tree. Lemons and limes, not great. And a lot of other fruit, depends. Some fruits will ripen okay off the tree and some won't. Depends what it is. Like a fig, if you haven't eaten a fig off the tree, you haven't eaten a fig. There's no comparison. None. I don't even like buying figs in the store. After you've eaten pigged out on a tree, on a fig. The honey's dripping off in the heat of the sun, and it just melts in your mouth. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it. So, you know, we do the best we can in the situations we're in. The biggest thing is reducing our food intake. If you can reduce your food intake, you're going to get healthier. And you'll live longer, more likely. All the science, mainstream science knows this. They've done many studies on this. They know. Reduce your intake of food 30, 40, 50%, and your life expectancy goes up. So ask yourself why. We overeat. That's why. Overeating takes energy. It's simple. It's all in front of our face. But we like food. Mangia, mangia, as they say in Italian. You know, we like to eat. Anybody else have questions? In the chat? Sonny?
Yeah, first time caller. Do you hear me?
Yeah, hear you great.
Hey, I'm pushing 68 years old, so I have a lot of advice to give people. Not that you could take it or leave it. Going back to the food, which Phyllis, she opened a can of worms.
Yeah.
I like to quote a lot of one-liners. I'm a big Bob Dylan fan, so you could say very little and mean very much. Just like the X-Files, the truth is out there, and you can't copyright truth, okay? So the thing with the food is the food was used in the first temptation in the Garden of Eden, without getting religious. I posted a thing on the site there that says food was used in the first temptation and food will be used in the last temptation. If you read the Georgia Guidestones, they're trying to get the population of this world down to 50 million people, 500 million people, and they're using food, okay? as I spoke to you before, I'm 68. I want to become a breatharian. I think we could do that. We could solve. I'm not going to say we could solve the world's hunger, but if I eat less pasta, there's more for the next guy so he can eat. We're all not going to get this. When we got over 8,000 people on this group now, and I always say you didn't fall down a rabbit hole and got here by mistake. You were placed here by the universe, whatever that means to you. You don't get here by accident. So my point being is, food is really, if we can get away from food and maybe go with fruit only. There's no minerals in the soil or anything like that. So I don't know. I like to become a breatharian. I think the only way I could do that is become a liquidarian and just do liquids first. As a trucker, I was an East Coast trucker. We had long days, 12 to 14 hours. And I could go all day, getting up 5 o'clock in the morning and go all day on cigarettes and coffee. And back then it was a curse, but now I see it as a blessing, because until I put that first bit of food in my mouth, I could go. But the minute I put that food in my mouth, it's like, you know what? Now I'm going to be a freaking camel and pig out. And I'm sorry, I can't control it. So the only thing I can do is not take that first bite. And that's my problem. That's my downfall. But I'm working on it. And like I told you, I said, my goal is by the end of this year to become a breatharian. And if I can lead the way and help somebody else lead the way, we got to realize we have a body, soul, and spirit. And as the food goes down, the spirit goes up. So we have to. That's why they're trying to trip us up there by addicting us to food. Okay? I love one-liners. Like I said, Bob Dylan is my favorite, and he does one-liners. We were born to succeed, but we were programmed to fail. Mm-hmm. And they got us by the gayums. You know what I'm saying? They got us by the throat. And there's no money in a healthy human. The only time I drove a bus right here in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a handicap bus, and we did door-to-door services for 5 cities. These people, when you see people with their legs cut off, or they're going to dialysis 3 times a week, and that blood has to go through 500 times. They go in tired, they come out tired. I'm a biker. I can't live that way. Like I told you before, I traveled from Romania to the Big Island, 4 years in the U.S. Navy. I was in Rome in 1970. I was stationed in North Africa, Morocco, the Marrakesh Express. I can't go out in a wheelchair. I'll just go out to my garden and wait for the angels to come, because they're not going to cut me. They're not going to cut me. I won't take my own life, but they're not going to cut me. They're not going to burn me, and they're not going to poison me. It's not going to happen. I'll die with my boots on. I'm not a brave soul, but I'm just not going to, I've been deprogrammed. I've been born again. And the Bible says, without religion, the Bible says renew your mind. And everybody that's in this group has to renew their mind. Whatever way you're going to do it, whatever. I'm not preaching religion here. But we have a body, soul, and spirit, and we have to work on our spirit. And that's the main thing. And that's my 2 cents. So,
Excellent, Sonny. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak? Questions?
Just wanted to show the goblet that I eat my pudding out of. It's right. Oh, it's right here. Can you see it?
A little higher. No, higher. Your cup.
Can you see it?
Barely. Okay, now we see it. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So, anyways, they had a beautiful one at the dollar store. There's all kinds of jars you can get too for your herbs, like small jars at this one store we have here, $2 little jelly jars. Throw out the contents and you can put your herbs in there and small portions of juice so you're all ready for work. So just little things like that are so useful.
Yeah, lots of things we can do.
Yeah.
You're not eating, you have a lot more time to do things. If you haven't noticed. And that's the issue people have. They go nuts with all that extra time. Sleep less, more to do. Yeah, you can have your down days, but big deal. They pass. Your pain can only last maybe minutes, hours, days, maybe even weeks, but it'll go away. It won't last forever. Pain will go away. Believe, trust in nature's operating table. Works every time. As long as you're on that table, no food, your body will heal. We have so many tools now to assist us. We can get through pretty much anything if we keep that faith.
Can I ask a question of Sonny?
Yeah, go ahead. Who's speaking?
Sonny, you there?
Oh,
You
Mary,
here?
go ahead. Go ahead.
So, Sonny, you were mentioning about you can go for a long time until you take the first bite of food. So I'm curious if taking the first spoonful of pudding does the same for you.
With the pudding, it's a little different. I don't know why. It's a special grace. When it comes to regular food, I pig out. Like I said, as a trucker, start at 5 in the morning and go till 7 o'clock at night. My wife would have the food in the microwave. She'd go to bingo. I would put the food down and go back to bed about 9:30. So what was a curse back then is becoming a blessing now. So it's really working out. And I'm happy. I'm happy than a pig in shit. I just love it, man.
Yeah, the system is sound. And most people that are on it know it's very satisfying. Hunger comes and goes. It's not real hunger. When it goes, it's not real hunger. And, a lot of people say, I'm not hungry, but I want to chew something. That's emotion.
Yeah.
It goes back to your mother's breasts, the nipples. That's why most people smoke. They always got to have something in their mouth. This goes right down to the day you were born. We're programmed.
Yeah, we we have to find our own ways. We're all a little bit different, and we need to find that thing that's going to settle that emotion, whatever it may be. Essential oils help with some people. Essential oils, use essential oils. You see me sniffing before. It was what's it called? Ylang. Whatever, any essential oils you like. These work on emotion. Odors are very powerful, very powerful. They're amazing. Just get ones that you're attracted to. They'll help you. Dry fasting, when I was dry fasting, the essential oils really helped me when I was doing breath work and stuff. It's just beautiful. If you can be in nature, that's the best. Smelling the nature, the plants and so on and so forth. Nothing like that. Walking up in a mountain, even better. Nice, beautiful, fresh air. But we do the best we can in the situation we're in. We can create our own fresh air. Doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the city or on the top of a mountain. If you understand with intent and emotion, you can do it all. Don't need to look out. Everything's within. And this is the key. What else do we have on here? We have Chrissy, Kelly, Wendy.
I have to correct myself on the pudding. I take it as a liquid. Okay.
Yeah, it's either way.
You know what I'm saying? She had a good question, that young lady, I forgot her name. She said, what happens when you start eating? But actually, I don't eat. I'm drinking it as a liquid. So
Right.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know.
Somebody's sharing their screen?
Not me.
Yeah, somebody's sharing their screen. I don't know.
Chrissy.
Oh,
Yeah, Chrissy, can you stop sharing?
click on that.
I don't know how to get out there. You're seeing Chrissy's screen. Okay,
Thank you.
so yeah, Phyllis, you have another question?
Yeah, I had a question actually, and we will be good.
Oh, Chrissy, go ahead.
My name is Tiana. I'm here at Chris's place, coming to hear my masterclass journey with her. Thank Chrissy for hospitality. And I started the masterclass 2 days ago with dry fasting, and I had a 46 hours dry fast until yesterday evening. And actually, I wanted to ask, and then I was drinking. I had the champagne and some coconut water and grape juice. All in all, I think it was a liter maybe of a liquid. And then since yesterday, and also for the last 17 hours, I didn't pee at all actually. While during the first two dry fast days, I went quite regularly, several times a day. So actually, I wanted to ask, I'm thinking what's the reason and what are my kidneys feeling at this moment. So I just wanted to ask, what do you think, Gina, about it? If I'm like severely dehydrated already, or should I'm now like 17 hours drive today. Maybe I should have a shorter drives, or like, what do you think?
What's your diet been like? How long? And how long have you been dry fasting?
I was fruitarian before for 3 years with quite almost a clean diet. Periodically, sometimes I had something cooked, etc., but mostly fruits. And then I had some before, like until a year ago, I had regular dry fasts 1 day a week. But then I like lost too many kilos, so I didn't want to lose any kilos, and I stopped. And my longest dry fast was 4 days last year in October. Mm-hmm. But then I didn't have any regular dry fasts again until now.
Yeah, the reason I have on the information that you should be aware if you're not urinating no more on a dry fast is to keep you aware of your body functions. When you do a long dry fast, you're not going to be urinating much. If you go a day without urinating, it's not a big deal in a few day dry fast at all. Sometimes that may happen, and then third or fourth day you start urinating, more stuff coming out. But are you having any kidney pains?
No pain at all, and I feel well. It's just that
there's no issue. It's good that you're aware. It's like I said, I have it there because people need to be aware of their bodily functions and what's going on. If you're having severe kidney pains and so on and so forth, you need to be aware of these things and you're not urinating. So a lot of people are jumping into dry fasting, going way too long for beginners, and that's an issue. We have a window of 12 to 20 hours every day for a range of different experiences of people, from SAD eating to people that have been eating clean and a little bit of fasting experience. You always start on the low end and work your way up. It takes time for the body to rehydrate, and it's not going to happen overnight. The main key to start hydration is to clean out that GI tract. And the dry fasting, as what we're doing, going back and forth with the juice and the dry, I always keep saying it's like that sponge. Once you clean that sponge out several times, the hydration starts, and it doesn't come from water. Hydration doesn't come from water. Hydration comes from hydrogen. And the best for hydrating, once the GI tract is clean, are fruits and nitrogen of the air. You can actually hydrate yourself through the breathing. Through low, shallow breathing, you can hydrate yourself. You can read the Keshe Living on Light file on the Facebook page. It explains how that works. So you understand how people are doing it living on no food and water. We can explain it scientifically, not mainstream science, plasma science. Mainstream science is all full of holes, all based on the mighty dollar. Very little truth in it. Very little.
Actually, the 4 days dry fast that I've done it supervised and with a lady who's vegetarian for 15 years. So she doesn't eat for 15 years already, only sometimes has like some liquid, mostly to share a drink with friends. So I know that it is possible, and I like believe completely. Although I don't consider, I don't want to.
Who's that, Jasmine?
No, it's Spirit. It's a Slovenian lady.
Oh.
Mira Omer. Yeah.
15 years, nice.
Yeah. 2000.
Yeah, there's quite a few around the world now.
And actually, in her case, it's just that her body didn't accept any food. Whatever she was taking, she would vomit it, and this was lasting for 16 days. And she went to see all kinds of doctors, etc. And everything was okay, but just she didn't feel like eating. And 3 days before that, 3 years before that, she was eating only salad and algs, nothing else.
And
then,
bells?
lettuce, like salads and algs. Oh, yeah. And yeah, now she's like vegetarian.
So she did this just on her own accord?
Yeah, right. It's just her body is like something that just came to her, you know,
Right.
as a gift way. And since she has started her vegetarian journey, her consciousness was opened widely, and she received like many gifts. So now she's the shaman, healer, doing different kinds of energy walks as well. Very interesting. He was working with the Aboriginal people in Australia, with in the Amazonas, like with many different, these ancient indigenous traditions.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Okay.
Anybody else? We're coming up to the last minutes.
I want to say that for quite a while, probably about 2 years, I was eating mostly raw vegetables, and I felt super grounded.
Mm-hmm. They'll do that.
And then sometime in this summer, I began to crave fruits, and I dropped the vegetables and began eating fruits. And I don't have the same groundedness as I had when I was on veggies.
Vegetables, they go low, more gravitational, but grounding. Fruits, more magnetical, more giving. So a lot of people can't, that's why they can't stay on fruit. They don't feel grounded. And you balance out with some green juices or salad if you feel that you need to be grounded. Or you try and do with breath work and so on and so forth. Walking barefoot at night, I explained this before, is much more powerful than walking in the daylight. The fields, that may help. If you don't feel grounded, try walking barefoot at night. See if that helps you.
There's only concrete around here.
Well, no little spot you can stand on.
Oh, I could try to find.
But yeah, it's an issue for a lot of people. Even me, just on fruit, sometimes I'll crave the vegetables to feel grounded.
Yeah, just like a turnip, a kohlrabi.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's we're all at different stages. If the vegetables I found, I like them. I like them. I always like vegetables and stuff, greens. Um, but if I eat too many of them, it slows me right down. Uh,
Yeah.
I gotta have the fruit. The fruit keeps everything moving properly. Even raw vegetables, the greens, it slows me down. It just shows our body has a tough time processing those things compared to fruit. Much more energy is needed than fruit. Fruit's very quick and least obstructive out of all the foods that we eat.
I want to thank you for these calls. I see we're on top of the hour now.
Yeah, we keep them at 2 hours. Last week went a little bit longer, but they get too long for people to watch them. 2 hours is already a lot. We can keep going all night, but who's going to watch them? They're just too long. Nobody's got the time to watch the long ones. So if anybody doesn't have any quick questions, otherwise we'll call it a night. And till next time.
I have a question again.
Go ahead.
When I mix a pudding, you're supposed to mix it with not metal, right? And I freaking screwed up, and I knew I wasn't supposed to measure it, do it with the spoon, and there I was with the spoon. So do I have to throw it all out or what?
Don't worry about it, Phyllis.
All right, that's what I thought, but now I'm just trying to mix it in a jar with a plastic lid and eat it with a plastic spoon in my fancy cup.
No, don't put any thought to it. Don't worry about it. If you got a plastic or wooden spoon, you can use it. If not, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna.
Well, my whole other master fast, I mixed it in the magic bullet and ate it as a pudding. So
Yeah.
still got out lots of plaque and worms and everything.
Yeah, don't worry about those things. Too much. We put too much mind in things that we don't need to. It's a simple system, no rocket science. Like I tell everybody, I go buy the cheapest juices I can find. I don't worry about organic and any of that stuff. Cheapest. If you want to worry about it, that's where you want to be at.
Can I quickly ask about people with low blood sugar issues? There's a few people like on YouTube who have attempted to detox, and they say that they can't eat a high fruit diet because of blood sugar.
You mean getting on the master fast with low blood sugar?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few people have gone through it. You're going to be sipping all day long. There's not going to be an issue. High blood sugar, low blood sugar, everything gets balanced out over time. The key is to follow the program as we described, sipping. A lot of people, they don't listen and they guzzle the juice. And this is a problem. We specifically have the instructions to sip the juice, mouthful. As you see, I'm just a mouthful.
They do that after a dry fast. It's thirsty.
Keep in your mouth a bit. That's it. And you're doing that in your drinking window.
We have a type 1 diabetic doing the master fast, and she's off insulin from day one. But she's done it before. This is the second time.
So
she did 63 days before.
It doesn't matter the names the medical mafia gives you or anybody else. Body can only see imbalance and balance. That's all it can see. So we're trying to bring it back to balance. And if we try and play chemistry or use the mind to bring it to balance, we're going to fail. The simplicity of the system is focus huge amounts on cleaning the GI tract. Assist the organs and glands and bowels with herbs and dry fast. That's all it is. So because we can't dry fast forever, when we're toxic as we are, we're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we need to find our balance of back and forth. A lot of people are going through these long master fasts and they're getting to the middle stage, after 60 days or whatever, and they're getting a big challenges because they push too much in the dry fast in early stages with no experience in dry fasting. You're not gonna finish. We want to finish the race, not win the race. Slow, steady. I highly advocate everybody trying 108 days, the first one. I don't care what you have. Jump in, get on it. But, start slow. Get your 108 days done back behind you so you get a good cleaning of the GI tract. It won't clean you all out, but it'll do a really good job. And then prepare mentally for your next one, which should be, 30, 40 days minimum, every 2 to 4 times a year. Some people want to do them every season change. They're talking 30, 40 days after a long one. I like to see people do the long one the first time. And you may want to do 108 days again the second time. Who knows? Doesn't matter. It's up to you. Depends if you're emotionally ready for that. But keeping it 2 to 4 times a year, as long and as well as maintaining the dry fasting schedule when you eat. You never let go of that. You're always resetting yourself with the food, because the food is the problem. So we have to find the reset system, and this is getting rid of the food. The dry fasting, then master fasting every season change. So this is where we're going back and forth. It's a system that you live on. It's not no diet, no fad, no one-time thing. That ain't gonna work for anybody. You need something to reset yourself continuously through your life. And this does it for you.
And what about for the rebuilding phase? So I'm wanting to start things like calisthenics, a lot of body weight training, and build a decent foundation. But then obviously if you're fasting 2 to 3, 4 times a year, how do you balance that without losing all the muscle mass each time?
You should be moving and exercising through the fast, through the master fast all the time. And through your dry fasting, I keep saying you got to move. You're not going to do crazy things, but I continue my yoga, my bike ride in the summer on dry fast. I do everything. My martial arts. It's something that you're going to have to get used to. Some people, they'll have a challenge moving some days, but this is where you get the Mighty Enema bag to help you out when you're feeling down and exhausted, because all it is the deep stuff being loosened up, trying to get out of your body, and this is what causes the exhaustion. It's going back into circulation. That's why we use all these tools to help get it out of there as quickly as possible, with enemas and colonics and herbs and so on and so forth, and the plasma pudding and so on. But the exercising, I don't recommend people do get on this and not do exercise. That's old school thinking. You need to exercise. The only issue I say is if your kidneys are not filtering well, do not do anything vigorous like heavy weightlifting or anything. But if your kidneys are filtering, you have the energy, use it. Use it. Don't put somebody else's belief system in your mind. You got the energy, use it. The biggest issue new fasters have is having dizziness. And this is where you need to understand and know it's nothing to do with not having nutrition. It's to do with toxins circulating through the blood and you feel weak. It's nothing to do with nutrition. So when you get up, breathe, do your breath work before you get out of bed or out of a chair, very slowly, stand, make sure everything's okay. And if you feel anything faint, crouch, get your finger and push it right here. And keep it firmly. That'll prevent you from fainting. Any finger, just right under your nose. Just push it firmly. If you feel fainting, just crouch down and push that. It'll prevent you from fainting. And we've had, I think, 2 or 3 people that fainted and banged their heads. We don't want to see this. You have to understand fasting and what it is. The fasting does not weaken you. It's your toxic lifestyle that weakens you. And once you've fasted for a long time, this will get less and less, and then it'll come times that you'll probably hardly have it anymore. Like me, doesn't matter how much, I very rarely get that dizzy, light feeling that you're going to faint when I'm fasting. I rarely get it anymore. At the beginning, Yeah, you freak out. You don't know what's going on. You're freaking out. You know, it scares you, even though you read it, you understand it. Until you experience it, you don't know. Don't be fearful of it. Embrace it. Use the tools.
Cool.
All right, folks.
Sonny has a question.
Go ahead, Sonny. Quick one.
What time is it? It's about 7:10 here.
9:10
We're only 2 hours apart?
from Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. All right. Good night. God bless you. God bless you all. I had a great time.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, we do them every week. We try to do them. So far, we've been going every week.
Yeah.
And it's been some good questions and some good interesting experiences from people that we've had. If you look back at the other ones, I upload them. I try and upload them always by the next day.
Right. I always tell everybody I may not speak the Queen's English, but I do read the King James Bible. I was made in Brooklyn, brother. I can't help it. Okay, so I just ciao, baby.
Peace, peace.
Bye.
All right, everybody. We'll call it a night, and we'll take it till the next week.
You, Gina.
Yeah,
Thank
see ya.
you.
Hopefully, you got some information that can help you. That's what it's all about. We got the page to support everybody. I can't be doing it for everybody. We got so many people helping out now. It's wonderful. It's amazing what's happening. It's fantastic support. And this is what it's about. And I mentioned the last call, if you can help somebody that needs help within your area by physically being there for them, do it, because we can't rely on the system. We can't rely on it. The system's disgusting. It's horrible. So if somebody is really in need, they're going through a major healing reaction, detox symptom, they can't move around, they need help doing enemas, this, that, whatever, making it. If somebody can help, it'll be a blessing. Because we can't rely on these systems, on the doctors, you know. Yeah, you can go to ER, you know, you got to understand there's risks every time you walk into a hospital. It's the most dangerous place to walk into. I don't know if you guys know that. Hospital is the most dangerous place to walk into. Crazy, but that's what it really is. So till next week, we'll see you guys. It's been a blessing, and keep sharing the info so we all learn.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, guys.
Good night.